As centuries have passed and we humans have reached greater standards of living in the name of progression and simplicity, and for a whole lot of other reasons, we've started devising some more and more megaprojects that will be architectural and engineering marvels. Well, sometimes bigger isn't always better, and that's what we're going to see today. Picking up from where we left off, here's another 5 of the most useless megaprojects in the world. Number 5. Brazil's controversial stadium in the rainforest. The 2014 FIFA World Cup was famously held in Brazil. And for a nation that's so enamored with the game, it was a very significant event. To prepare for the major event, the nation had to undergo extensive renovations. Brazil was required to construct 12 new football stadiums and restore a few older ones. Brazil planned to spend a total of $11 billion on this gigantic mega project, but despite the staggering expense, the nation was eager to share its love of sports with the entire world. These massive mega projects, however, are not always economically feasible in the long run, as is the case with many nations that host the World Cup. Critics and financial repercussions are frequently disregarded in order to provide the best World Cup presentation. The entire endeavor didn't make any sense economically in many aspects. The Arena de Amazonia in Manaus, which took 4 years to complete and cost over $250 million, was the most notable. The actual construction wasn't a simple task. Despite being the 7th largest city in Brazil, Manaus is situated right in the heart of the Amazon rainforest. Moving large quantities of commodities presents challenging difficulties due to this remote location. Many of the building supplies used to construct the stadium were transported through the Amazon River from Portugal. The entire trip took 3 weeks, which increased the expense of the construction project. However, the issues with this massive project went far beyond that. Only 4 World Cup games were held at this stadium, despite the time and the money spent on its construction. Clearly, the money made from these few games was far less than what was spent. The stadium saw little use following the 4 World Cup contests. The 40,000-seat arena can't consistently be filled by the local team's fan bases. In addition, many locals lack the financial means to purchase game tickets. The stadium's rent and maintenance expenses so outweigh the club's total revenue. The stadium was utilized once more for a few events, including the 2016 Summer Olympics, and it was only used a couple of times for the 2014 World Cup. Number 4. China's abandoned ghost cities. Real estate boomed as China became a major economic force in the early 2000s. Mega projects arose everywhere, and some of the most recognizable skyscrapers in the world found a home in the nation's biggest cities. But not every one of these initiatives was a success. In actuality, China has built a vast number of ghost cities that cost billions to construct but are now mainly deserted. In today's video, we take a look at one such project that is located in China's Hebei province. The 1,800-acre Xiangyun International Project in Shijiazhuang has been labeled as a city inside of a city. The project was split into 2 halves and cost $3 billion to develop. A larger upscale neighborhood with apartments and amusement parks, and a more compact commercial district with skyscrapers and shopping centers. Due to its close proximity to underground metro stations and a high-speed train stop, the project's location is particularly handy. There was a lot of enthusiasm when the initiative was first unveiled. However, development unexpectedly came to an end in 2014 as a result of the local authorities looking into the real estate firm that was behind the project. By 2017, the primary developer had been convicted of the allegations of corruption and was behind bars. As a result, the value of the properties fell precipitously, and the corporation filed for bankruptcy. Due to the government's seizure of the project, hundreds of homeowners are currently unable to move in. The partially completed development is still unfinished, and the portions that have already been created have started to deteriorate. Strangely, the district's streets may be heard rumbling with traffic, yet inside it seems like a ghost town with only stray animals living there. The Xiangyun International Project is now more of a tourist destination than a housing construction. Number 3. The world's emptiest airport. Sri Lanka, an island nation, just put an end to a bloody civil war. Mahinda Rajapaksa, the successful president, began making preparations to boost the nation's economy right away. At the time, Colombo, the largest city in the nation at the time, was the only one to have an international airport. All of that was about to change, though, as the president had plans for a second business hub in the 250-kilometer distance Hambantota region. With China's assistance, a partner eager to invest billions in infrastructure projects, a new seaport was developed in an area that was already undergoing tremendous development boom. The second international airport for Sri Lanka was about to be constructed near the small town of Matala, which is close to Hambantota. A government organization at the time put up a study cautioning against the development of a second international airport in Matala. The analysis came to the conclusion that the funds would be better used to expand the Colombo International Airport. The government, however, disregarded that advice and still carried out the strategy. The airport's construction was finished slightly over 3 years after it started in November 2009. It was given the president's name and made formally available for use on flights in March 2013. The project cost $210 million in total, of which 190 were loans from China. A third of the 20,000 residents of the little city where the airport is situated live below the poverty line. The airport handled 50,000 passengers and 3,000 flights in 2014. Sri Lanka's national carrier ceased operations at the beginning of 2015 as a result of Rajapaksa's electoral setback. Fly Dubai, the last airline remaining to utilize the airport, ceased operations in 2018, leaving it completely deserted. To cut losses, its enormous space was also utilized as a warehouse for storing rice. SSC is ranked second. Now we're going to examine one of the most significant physics megaprojects in history. When finished, the superconducting super collider in Texas will be a network of tunnels circling Waxahachie and acting as the most powerful particle accelerator in existence. Electric fields are used in particle accelerators to rapidly accelerate charged particles. They are employed for study and to aid in the discovery of the universe's mysteries. Since the 1930s, particle accelerators have been used, and as of today, 30,000 of them have been constructed worldwide. And all of them fall short of the energy output of the superconducting super collider, which was intended to be constructed in Texas in the 80s. The SSC's cumulative budget overrun the years. That was the largest obstacle over the years, as it is with many mega projects. The project's viability away from the location of development was under scrutiny. In order to construct a high-energy particle collision in the US, a sizable project was launched called the Superconducting Super Collider. By 1992, the project's estimated expenditures had already risen past $9 billion. And the case against it was becoming more compelling. The cost projections had increased to $11 billion just a year later, in 1993. The European Organization for Nuclear Research completed the construction of the Large Hadron Collider in 2008. North Korea's Ryugyong Hotel is ranked first, the world's most useless hotel. The tallest unoccupied structure in the world, sometimes referred to as North Korea's Tower of Doom. This one comes in second on the list. Not many tourists are welcomed into North Korea. The country isn't a prominent tourist destination because of the state's policy of secrecy and its restriction on any interaction between locals and tourists. This reticence to welcome visitors, though, wasn't always present. Because North Korea had plans to welcome thousands of foreign guests into the world's tallest hotel in the 1980s, it kind of was fueled by its rivalry with South Korea. In 1989, North Korea was granted the opportunity to host the World Festival of Youth. A year later, construction on a distinctive pyramid-shaped hotel in the nation's capital, Pyongyang, began. The Ryugyong Hotel's height was finally reached in 1992. But by then, the Soviet Union, the building's investor, had disintegrated. Well, that brings us to the end of today's video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, leave a little like and subscribe, and also turn on post notifications. Check the channel out for more great content like this, and we'll see you in the next one. Or a different one, whatever. But later.